All right, so let's continue on. We're back in add design, the component, and there's kind of one thing what we need to work on. So far we're just showing the flavor, whether or not they've selected light and the font size, but we're supposed to have like a box that is supposed to like demonstrate those things. So it's supposed to like change color and it's supposed to show the flavor, and so we're gonna kind of make that its own component, right? So instead of having all of that stuff inside the add design component, we're gonna make another component that will display all that information for us. All right, here's how we're gonna do that. So let's go back and let's go ahead inside our components folder. Let's go ahead and make add.tsx. Okay, we're gonna do export function add. All right, cool. And then we're gonna return. Right now, we'll just do the base thing. We'll change this in a second. All right. Now, here is a cool thing. You can have components inside other components. Okay, so I'm gonna repeat that. So we had a component. If we went back to app.tsx, we put our components here. Okay, app is our root component, and then we started putting components in it. Well, we can put components inside other components. And the reason you might do that is because the child component, so there's a parent component and a child component. In this case, add design is going to be the parent component. Add design has some information like the flavor, whether or not the background is light, and font size that the child component is going to need to know in order to render to the screen properly. All right, so I'm going to take, you could put all that stuff here, all right, but typically because it has its own logic, I want to take these properties and send them to the child component. So here's how we're going to do that. And React is already, set up to do this for us. Okay, React components have a thing called props, okay, short for properties. All right, so React will automatically send properties from the parent to the child if you tell it to. So let's actually see what that looks like. So let's go back to add design. All right, I'm going to remove this. Instead, I would like React to render the add component. Okay, so the same syntax as before. All right, except this time, in order to show the child component, it's going to need some information. All right, so let me get rid of this. Let's go back to add.tsx. First, I'm going to make an interface. This interface is going to define what information I need in order to display this child component. So I'm going to do interface, and I'm just going to call it add properties. All right, I need the flavor, which is a string. Okay, I need whether or not it's light, which is a boolean. And then I also need, what was the last one? My memory is terrible. Font size. Font size, which is number. Okay, I need these three things in order to display this add. So I have a variable props, and it's going to be of the use the interface add properties. All right, so that's what I'm saying. Now you notice back in add design we have a problem because now it's saying we're missing properties. That's fine. We'll go ahead and do that. So we're going to do flavor is equal to flavor. Remember, flavor is that state variable we had before. Is light is equal to curly brackets is light, and font size is equal to font size. All right, all is right with the world. So I had my child component, which is the add, and I'm passing in properties. All right, information, variables from the parent component will drill down into the child component. Okay, these are the state variables. I did that. I created an interface here called add properties, and I as an input to my component function, I have properties. So again, mind bending. Your component is a function, therefore it can have inputs. And its inputs are going to be the properties, okay, that are passed into it. How all of the nitty gritty of how that happens, the React library takes care of it for you. But now these properties are going to be available to us inside here. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and just do it like a div. Get rid of this caret. Put class name equals add. All right, and then for right now, I'm just going to go ahead and put props.flavor. Remember, the props object here is what holds those properties, and we define that up here, so it has flavor. props dot is light. Okay, and props dot font size. Oops, I gotta get the bracket. Props dot font size. All right, everything should be hunky dory. All right, and let's actually, just so it looks better, oops, put them all in p tags. I'll play with Visual Studio. All right, jeez, come on, Visual Studio. P. It's a boolean, so in order for it to display its value, I have to do to string. Alrighty, so it will not look any different than what I did before, all right? But now I want you to realize that, like, there was this chocolate true in 25, that's its own component. Okay, so now we've taken this component, we split up into two. The parent component is add design. The child component is the add. All right, and so now we can do a little bit of styling. All right, let's go back to Visual Studio. So I'm gonna make a CSS file for this add. Let's go with my CSS folder. Let's call it add.css. Okay, it's typical. It's obviously you want to name it the same as the component so people know what goes with what. All right, let's go ahead and import that. Import, single quotes, I need 2 dots, CSS, add.css. All right, and I've got some, okay, just some like CSS. I want it to like display flex, flex direction column, put everything in the center, align the items to the center, and I've got just some padding and width. The box shadow is the main thing to make it appear like a box. All right, so I've got those things, and you can look at them later, like in the GitHub repo. You can see like specifically what I did. All right, so let's go back here. So I did class name equals add, so that way this add here will apply to that. So let's see if it changed what the look of things. All right, here. All right, cool. So this is chocolate true 25. All right, you see how we're like changing the way it looks. It still looks a little bit. But we're getting there. All right, so let's switch this around a little bit. Let's go back. I think we're supposed to say like we were voting for something. Okay, it's going to be like vote. So P vote for, and then we're going to get rid of all this, and I think it's H2 tag, and then it's going to be flavor. Oh, props.flavor, excuse me. Props.flavor. All right, that compiled. All right, let's take a look at what we got. All right, vote for vanilla. Okay, cool, that's good. I think I want a little space though between these things. So let's change the CSS so it doesn't look so. So let's do, we got padding, margin, bottom. Adjust this a little bit, like until it looks the way I want it to. Yeah, so we got a little more space. Alrighty. So we have vote for vanilla. All right. So now you can kind of see. If we go back, there we got a little space. Now you can see how we're using these properties to sort of update the display. So now, here's what's going to happen. You may be thinking, well, Jonathan, like the component loaded, we gave it its state, and now we see that this is vanilla. Okay, what happens if I click a button? Click a button. See how it updates? So chocolate, strawberry. So React is going to detect when we change the UI. Okay, we have an event. Okay, like clicking something. So we click the strawberry, that updated the state of the component, and then it also updates the state of the child component. So it will send that property down to the child, and then it will change. So now whenever they click strawberry or vanilla or chocolate, okay, it will go ahead and change those things. So now you can kind of play around with this a little bit. So now we have a parent component called add design and a child component called add. All right, let's go review the main important points. All right, add is a function. It takes in properties. Okay, that's part of the React library. It is very typical to have an interface to define what properties you expect to come in. In my case, I want flavor, whether or not it's light, and font size. So the props, again, I just made this variable, uses the interface add properties. Okay, how does this get here? How does this information get injected? Let React handle that. It does it. In the parent component, I have the child component here, and then I just list out the properties and their values. Now, you don't have to use the state variables if you don't want. So, for example, if I just put chocolate here, you could do that, but then it would never change. So that means that this state variable, the reason we're using the state variable is because when the person clicks on something, which is an event, the thing updates. So I want to use these variables, but you don't have to. You can give them a default value if that's what you want to do, or a value, whatever you want, okay? But in this case, I'm passing in these state variables. So that means that in case anything happens in the parent, okay, the child will update based on those values. And that is the power of React. We get to have the user click things and type things and do all sorts of stuff, and the UI can change however you want it to change. And that's the beauty of this whole thing. Okay, as long as we understand how everything clicks together, functions together, we can make pretty powerful apps. All right, so this is parent and child component. Okay, we're gonna go to the child component. We're gonna add some styling. For example, the background needs to be dark or light depending on this Boolean. So we have to change the style of the component based on that variable, and we're going to learn how to do that in the next video.